Sheriff, they want you down at the cemetery.
Today in the cemetery, somebody dug up a coffin. It was a coffin of a 9-year-old girl. You've come back to us, Michael.
When are they going to realize that she is not him? She's just a child.
They know that Michael Myers is her uncle, and that she attacked her stepmother. That's why they fear her, especially on Halloween. You're afraid. You're afraid the whole thing might start to happen again. How many people did he kill last year? Have you forgotten? But you never looked into his face, did you? You never saw his eyes. You never saw that nothing, no expression, blank. My memory goes back 12 years. I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew that hell would not have him. Michael Myers is outside.
The National Guard will take him to a maximum security facility, where he'll stay till the day he dies.
Never die.
That's very good. Hello, I'm Dr. Cosmo McKinley. I'd like to tell you about a new film from the gang that gave you the Rocky Horror Show. Shock Treatment.
I'm not a locum with no suture myself. I've been a cynic for too many years. Playing doctor and nurse, it can be good for your health. I've seen clinics with those gimmicks in Tangiers. But if you open your heart to a smooth operator, he'll take you for all that you've got. He'll hand you a curse that'll be with you later. It'll shake you the way he takes off, like a shot. You need a bit of shock treatment. Get you jumping like a real live wire. Need a bit of shock treatment. So look out, mister, don't you blow your last resistor for a vista that'll mystify ya. You're blinded by romance,
but you're blinded by science. Your condition is critically grave, but don't expect mercy from such an alliance. Suspicion of tradition, so you wave. You need a bit of shock treatment. You're jumping like a real live wire. Need a bit of shock treatment. So look out, mister, don't you blow your last resistor for a sister that'll certify ya. Fire, fire. You need a bit of shock treatment. You're jumping like a real live wire. You need a bit of shock treatment. So look out, mister, don't you blow your last resistor for a sister that'll certify ya.
You'll be pathetically crazy about shock treatment. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
This one's different. Trust me.
So, we're just.
Put the gun down before you kill someone.
Teenage Girl's Diary.
Hello, and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Deads. Thank you very much for joining us. If this is your first time watching us, welcome. If this is not your first time, welcome back. Thank you for joining us today. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. Obviously, if this is your first time watching, we do record this out of our house. This is also a podcast, so if you are listening to us, we appreciate that. We do want to invite you to come watch the show if you want to. You can find us at thenewlydeads.com. That's where you'll be able to find all of the information about the shows, where we're airing, the different stations, our YouTube channel. All of that information is all located at thenewlydeads.com. So you'll be able to find out that information. Like I was saying, we do record this in our house. We do have dogs that kind of frequent the show. So right now, Joel has a dog on his lap named Bailey, and Shaggy is smack dab in the middle of the set here.
Just staring at us.
Yeah. So again, if you're listening to us, we do recommend that you also try to find us, or if you're okay with us just kind of explaining things to you instead, that's fine as well. But this is a half-hour chat show where we watch a movie and then we discuss that movie. But I'm looking over here. This week, I don't see anything. All I see is a picture of ghosts that Mr. Newly Dead happened to paint. And why is that, Joel?
Because we're doing something a little different. With the Halloween season upon us, we're taking a break, so to speak, from our regularly scheduled program. So if you're expecting to have us talk about Covenant, that's next week. And we decided to talk about some of our favorite Halloween films, maybe ones that you know, maybe some you don't, kind of recommendations, perhaps a little bit. It's a little loose, but we thought it's a season. We wanted to do something to kind of market. So that's kind of what we're doing today.
Because Halloween is our favorite time of year. We celebrate Halloween all year long. We are just like into the vibes, into the aesthetic. We got married on Halloween, so it's a very important date to us. It's not just a holiday that people go and trick or treat. This is actually our anniversary. This will be our 4th anniversary of our marriage. That's why we're still the Newly Deads or whatever, but I think we'll just keep that name for the rest of our existence, because being married to Joel is like being married like a newlywed. Like, I'm just very happy with him all the time, and
the honeymoon never ends.
The honeymoon never ends. So, oh, so sweet and creepy
and spooky and creepy. Yes.
So yeah, this is a little loosey goosey. We're just going to kind of chat about some things. There might be some trailers because Joel's going to be doing some editing on the episode, so he might throw in some of the pictures of the movies, I'm sure, and weigh in on some of the stuff, I guess, that we're talking about, and probably do some little bit fillers of things. And he always does his little editor notes, so I'm sure he'll probably pop up some things on there. Since we do celebrate Halloween and like love horror movies and all that, obviously my list isn't specifically always just about Halloween, but the movies that I chose are ones that bring me kind of like a cozy feeling, I guess, or like Bailey's doing something weird here. He wants to jump down. There he goes. But this is, these are kind of movies that I feel comfort around when I do watch them during this spooky season, if you want to call it that. So yeah, I don't know about you, what kind of movies you have, if they're all Halloween themed or if they're,
well,
yeah. Do you want to start?
I was just going to say, I specifically chose films that take place during Halloween.
Yeah.
And so you're getting the vibe of the season with, the pumpkins and the fall leaves and all that stuff. But you're also getting, a fun little horror film that maybe is one that you've seen before. Maybe it's one you haven't seen before. Maybe it's something that you're like, what the heck is that? I got to check that out. Or it's like, that's something I watch every single year, just like you. So actually, I think probably the best way to kick it off is, what's the number one movie that, we always watch at the beginning of the season is pretty much your favorite horror movie ever?
And it might sound kind of lame because it's very stereotypical, but Halloween from 1978, is my very, very favorite comfort Halloween movie. Obviously, it's called Halloween. It takes place on Halloween. If you haven't watched it, I don't know where you're living or how old you must be, because I feel like everybody on the planet has at least some sort of knowledge about Michael Myers and has seen at least a trailer or some clips or something like that, or even just like the memes and the gifs where there's like Michael Myers dancing around with a knife, and it's like one of my favorite songs. I had it as my ringtone for a really long time.
She did. She's got a facsimile license plate from the car that Michael stole from the Smiths Grove Sanitarium.
I do.
In our bedroom.
Yeah. That was a gift from someone.
And this was like I said, 1978 film directed by John Carpenter, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and some other folks that you may know. And it's interesting when you talk about, if you haven't seen it, if you're maybe too young, like we introduced it to my youngest, who was 19 last year.
Yeah.
And although we both love it, and it's kind of like a staple at the beginning of the year to kick off the season, they weren't impressed.
Well, I feel like the reason they weren't impressed is because we started them off their kind of horror journey by watching Scream. And so Scream to me obviously wouldn't exist without Halloween. And, it's kind of one of the most iconic slasher films, I feel like. And so it has, impacted and influenced lots of other horror movies.
Lots of imitations.
Yeah. So if you start off with Scream is like, running 100 miles an hour and, some of the scenes and stuff, because it's so like zippy zappy, kind of thing. And so the pacing of the movie of Halloween is a little bit slower. But I like it because I feel like the vibes of the movie, it's very, even though it was filmed in California, they made it look like fall in the Midwest,
I mean, you can see palm trees in the background occasionally if you really look hard. But,
but
they tried to they did a good job.
Yeah, everybody's kind of wearing like fall gear and it seems chilly, and they've got like the coloring of the film, I feel like is very like autumnal.
Although they had a hard time finding pumpkins apparently during the film.
I don't blame them.
If you've seen any documentaries or any behind the scenes stuff or read books about it, there's a lot going on that you don't see in the film. And I think the other big difference between that and Scream, aside from the fact that Scream is, kind of meta and faster paced, is that Halloween is very methodical. There's no blood to speak of, really. There's a little bit here and there, but nothing like major. It's more about suspense and kind of stalking, right? And it kind of set the tone for a lot of other films that were to kind of come after that. So it really is kind of the progenitor for kind of what we think of as the modern kind of horror film, so to speak. Granted, it had a lot of sequels, and it's since become just like this behemoth of a franchise.
Yeah,
but
sparked lots and lots and lots of other things after it.
You can't really speak about any other Halloween themed films or other really modern day horror films without at least mentioning Halloween at some point.
Yeah. So that's why I like it. What about you?
So just kind of staying in that same vein, and this is an unpopular opinion, but my go-to Halloween film that I've got to watch every single year, and I used to watch it on Halloween. Actually, there was another movie I used to watch on Halloween all the time, and then after this came out, I switched gears, and every year now, since our anniversary is on Halloween, we're usually doing something. So I kind of got to sneak it in earlier. But is both, and I consider this one long film in my brain, but it's 2007 and 2009's Rob Zombie Halloween, and then Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which stars Scout Taylor Compton. And if you've seen it, it's very divisive as far as like how people feel about it. And I feel like it still captures the same vibe, although it's ultra violent, and it kind of almost feels like two films, but it kind of takes that story and it kind of ratchets it up for a modern audience. And the first film is about kind of the why, and then it goes into the stalking, and then it goes into the murder, and then the second film gets into kind of this weird territory that not a lot of people really broach, which for me, Halloween 2 is all about surviving PTSD. So when you think about all these characters, these final girls that go through this horrible ordeal, typically when you see them by the end of the film, they're kicking ass, or they're, kind of just in shock. And then by the second film, if they make a second one, they're, all out going to go just crazy, and they're all of a sudden kind of the badass of the series. Whereas in this situation, Laurie Strode kind of is dealing with the fact that all of her friends were killed. She was nearly killed herself, and she's kind of trying to figure out how to navigate a world where, everything was taken from her and her life was destroyed. And I feel like that kind of gets overlooked by kind of the weird kind of dreamlike stuff that Rob Zombie threw in there, and a lot of things that people just didn't connect with. But for me, I feel like those two together make this one kind of epic version of the story.
Well, we're both fans of Rob Zombie anyways. Like, I like his music and I like his movies.
Mhm.
And so I feel like it's okay to tell a story of some characters in a different way. I don't feel like it detracts from the original films or anything
Right.
like that. I feel like it's, it's its own thing. Like, when I think of Rob Zombie's Halloween, I don't immediately think of Michael Myers, like, in the first film, you almost understand and feel for the kid a little bit more and like understand why he does the things that he does. And I feel like Rob Zombie did a good job of like telling that story. And I feel like he was trying to pay homage to like the original, while also like making it his own. And I feel like he did a really good job doing that. So you guys can come at us if you want. We know that it's like you said, a divisive, sort of film where people are very polarized. They either hate it or love it, kind of thing. But when I first saw it in the theater, I was happy. Like, I liked where he went with it. I wasn't expecting it to be the way that it was, and I was pleasantly surprised and happy about it.
Which the thing that I think kind of gets missed is that Rob got the blessing of John Carpenter when he signed on to do it, because it wasn't really in his plan. But when he got asked, he specifically went to John Carpenter and said, "Hey, this is what's happening. Are you cool with that?" And John's like, "Take it, make it your own thing, run with it." And I think the biggest thing that I really enjoy about the film, and I've honestly probably seen it more times than I've seen the original. It's a close tie or close race. Is that they took Michael Myers, who is creepy and stocky and scary in the first one, and made him into this like giant kind of hulking monster, almost kind of like Frankenstein's monster in a way, where he's kind of this tragic figure. And he's terrifying, not just because he stalks and he is lurking around the corner. It's that he's big enough that if he wants to do some damage, you don't really have much to say about it. I mean, just think about the sequence in the bathroom with him and Ken Faree, where
Yeah.
I mean, every time I see it, I'm like, holy crap, Ken Faree is not a small guy. Or
even like the Danny Trejo scene or whatever.
Which just shows that he's pretty much there is no remorse in him anymore. There's no like care or feeling. He's just like, I don't care who you are, what you did, you're going down one way or the other.
Yeah,
his
my way. Psychosis like is next level at that point.
Yeah, which for me, I like what they did with it. And like Laura said, they're two separate entities as far as I'm concerned. When I watch the Halloween franchise and its sequels and its deviations, that's one story. And then if you watch this, it's another story that
and I don't feel
has
like
a beginning and an end.
I don't feel like they're necessarily related.
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
they're their own things.
They're their own
They're
thing.
their own thing.
What's your second choice?
Joel already knows these because this is like something I always try to make him watch every year. But not make him, but request for us to watch every year.
this.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't do that.
Is Trick or Treat. That was from
2007.
7. Yeah, I was going to say 6, but if you've not seen Trick or Treat, let me back it up. I'm a huge fan of anthology movies. Yep, Joel's backing it up. Are you, Joel, and you're driving now?
I am. I'm Joel and I'm driving. If you watch our YouTube videos, you might know what that is.
Yeah.
Insert backing up truck noise.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Trick or Treat is an anthology movie. But the thing that I like about this anthology is all of the stories relate to each other. And they do a really good job of like sewing in like the thread. So like I've seen some anthology movies where, there's like Tales from the Crypt, kind of stuff or whatever. Like the old, like original one that we watched, where you've got,
Freddie
your
Francis.
crypt keeper guy or whatever, and he's the one that's kind of telling the stories. And so they kind of relate to each other, but this is like each story builds upon another story, and you start to see like, where the threads are and like how things are related. It takes place in the same town, like that kind of thing. So I really enjoy Trick or Treat. There's some funny parts to it. There's some sad parts to it. There's some scary parts to it. I kind of feel like there's something for everybody in it. I mean, they've got all kinds of monster elements, from like vampires to werewolves to,
The Sam.
to Sam, so it's, it does definitely celebrate Halloween. It is extreme Halloween. There's pumpkin carving, head carving.
Don't forget the eyes.
Yeah, exactly. If you
I'm gonna
haven't
watch
seen
that
it,
tonight.
please put it on your list to watch it this year because it's, I feel like it's held up pretty well.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on the director. I know it's somebody that I know the name, and it escapes me. I'll throw it up here. But just the scene alone of the the kids on the bus. That's my favorite sequence in the whole film. Is that, and then of course the Sam storyline. But that sequence on the bus, like, is legitimately unnerving, and then what happens after the bus incident is just nearly pitch perfect with the vibe, the pumpkins, what happens, and all of that together kind of creates this
Michael
nice
Dougherty.
little chunk. Thank you. I know I was trying to think of it, not to be confused with the lead
It
singer
was
of
written
Soul
and
Coffin.
directed. Mhm.
And they've been teasing a sequel for years and years and years, and I don't know if it's ever going to happen. And at this point,
Yeah.
but it started out as an animated short film that he did in film school, I believe. And if you've seen the Blu-ray or DVD copy, I believe it includes it on there, and you can see it online. But it's fun to watch, kind of see the genesis of the story. And that's another one that we showed to my kid, kind of in their horror education.
I think they liked it.
And I feel like they liked that one a little better. They didn't like it quite as much as we do. But it was more in their wheelhouse in terms of it was a little more modern, a little bit more pacing that they're used to. And it's just another film that just sets the mood for the season.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. What's your next one?
So to kind of get off the train that we're on, let's go a little bit left of center. And the next one I have on my list is Satan's Little Helper, which is from 2004, I want to say. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. That one was directed by, insert thing here because I'm friends with him on Facebook and I forgot his name all of a sudden. Sorry about that. So this one is an independent film. Amanda Plummer is in it, and it's about a little kid who's obsessed with a game called Satan's Little Helper, where you're this little minion who is helping Satan kill people to get points. And he suddenly runs into this serial killer that is going around the town that he lives in, this small town, murdering people dressed as Satan. And so he immediately assumes that this guy is Satan and he's going to help him. So if you ever watch our videos on YouTube, you'll see a clip from it that is in the intro to all of our videos, where there's a little kid in a shopping cart being pushed by a guy in a Satan mask. That's Satan's Little Helper. Jeff Lieberman, thank you, who's done a slew of movies in the 80s and 90s that you'll probably know if you look them up. But it's definitely low budget. There's a pretty simple storyline, but there's something about the fact that the killer you never see their face, they never say a word. They just go around doing their stuff and kind of create these little scenes with the people they kill as almost like Halloween decor. And the kid eventually realizes that this guy isn't, on the level, and that he's actually hurting people, and things go sideways and they have to figure out how to stop him if they can.
Yeah.
So I don't think you hadn't seen it before I showed it to you.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you think about
Satan's Little Helper? Yeah, I thought it was good. It was it was a fun movie, Yeah. I liked it. I definitely liked it. I was trying to look at some of the stills because I was like, I remember it, but I don't remember everything. But I do remember the shopping cart and things like that. And yeah, it was a fun movie.
It's kind of a mean-spirited film, in so much as some of the people that died deserve it and some don't.
Yeah.
But it definitely takes place during Halloween. They even go to a shop to buy costumes at one point. There's people running around in costumes, and there's a lot of iconography that relates directly to Halloween. And I feel like it's kind of an underserved film. It's gotten a new release a couple of years ago, and this kind of started to find a little bit more of an audience. But if you've never seen it, it's worth an hour and a half of your time, and I think you might like it. So what's next on your list?
Well, I was trying to think of, some of my favorite movies. This one doesn't take place during Halloween. So I know. But
Deviating.
if you're wanting to watch a good, like, funny, campy kind of horror movie, it's it's one of my top favorite ones or whatever. And do you know what I'm going to say?
Maybe.
Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Cabin in the Woods. If you're in the mood for like a horror movie that includes just every kind of monster on the planet,
Literally,
with funny twists in it and scary parts again, I would say that Cabin in the Woods is like top shelf for me, like top tier. Again, it doesn't really take place during Halloween, but I also feel like it would be a movie that you could watch all year round, but also like feel like okay watching it during the Halloween season, simply because it's such a great horror film. Basically, it's just these people that are going into a cabin in the woods, and then a whole bunch of stuff starts to happen, and then you start to see that this is not your typical, like, I'm going to get lost in the woods kind of movie, because there's definitely someone pulling the strings. Yeah. And in a really unexpected way. I feel like Isaiah really enjoyed watching Cabin in the Woods, don't you? Like,
yeah,
they
like that one. Plus, it's got a cast of people that are recognizable too.
Great.
Like Thor's in it, Chris Hemsworth.
Exactly. It's great. It's a great movie. It's very like, you've got your typical like normal tropes of people and stuff, like, like, oh, there's the blonde dumb girl, and then there's the smart nerd, and like the virgin, and like all of these kind of things that kind of lead up to the kid that smokes weed, and like, but then you start to realize, well, the main girl or whatever starts to realize that these things aren't really right, because the girl that's being a dumb blonde isn't really a dumb blonde. She's super smart in college and stuff. And so there's these things that have like happened because these people are pulling the strings. So
it starts out, you feel like it's going to be another Spam in a Cabin film. And all of a sudden, by the end of it, you've literally seen pretty much every horror film monster that has existed up to this point in some variation. Obviously, they're riffs on the characters. They can't use some of the actual monsters. But and then that towards the end, one of the opening shots of the third act is just so like over the top insane. You just got to see it to believe it. And if you've never seen it, we're trying to avoid spoilers, because it really is something you need to watch without any knowledge of what's going to happen. And I think we've given, just enough to kind of tease it. But
I tried.
It's not a Halloween film, but it definitely will fill the bill,
Yeah.
For sure.
What's yours?
So I have a whole lot listed here, and maybe what I'll do before we go is I'll just run down the list and you can follow up on your own. But another one that I feel is kind of underserved, because you've had what? That was your third?
That was my third.
Is May, the film Angela Bettis, takes place on Halloween. Jeremy Sisto's in it, and it is directed by Lucky McKee. It's about a kind of an awkward girl who doesn't fit in, kind of like Carrie in the Carrie film, except that she doesn't got any powers or anything. She's just trying to find her place, but she makes dolls. And so during the course of the film, she kind of falls for this guy. He kind of, seems to be interested in her. And then as time goes on, he realizes that she's kind of off the grid a little weird. And he decides he doesn't want to be with her, and she becomes obsessive, and things kind of turn into a very violent outcome with this girl who just wanted to belong.
Yeah.
And it ends up kind of having a twist at the end that is a little bit unbelievable, but it's kind of fun in the context of the world that's created. It's gotten kind of a well known now as kind of a cult classic, and Lucky McKee has gone on to do a lot of really like well-known films, including one of my all-time favorites, The Woman from 2011. Mm-hmm. But this one, I love Angela Bettis, and she's fantastic in it. She does such a good job of creating this character of May, and there's so many things to unpack that every time I see it, I get something new out of it. So if you've not seen it and you can tolerate a little bit of nasty things going on, blood and guts wise, it is it's an interesting story. And
Yeah.
I just introduced you to that one a couple
I've only
weeks ago.
seen it once, and so I was looking at some of the pictures and stuff, just to kind of like jog my memory. So, yeah, I liked that movie. I thought it was really good, and it was clever, and like the way that she like interacts with like Jeremy Sisto and stuff, right? Like he's the main like
He's
guy
like her
that-
love interest.
Yeah, her love interest, and the way that she yeah,
Oh, and then also it's got
I have
Chris
it pulled up.
Chris Pratt's ex-wife, who was in the Scary Movie franchise.
Anna Faris,
Anna Faris is in
Yeah.
it too, in a very un-Anna Faris role.
the one guy you don't like is in it also. James Duvall.
James Duvall. Yeah, well, he
He's not
doesn't
a-
last that long.
Not a fan.
But I like Donnie Darko, and James Duvall's in that too.
I am indifferent.
It's indifferent.
Yeah.
So I think we're coming to about the end of.
Yeah,
the
because
time
I know
already.
he keeps trying to
I'm
like get
checking
this
the
to
time because
wake up, and it's not. So
well, I was keeping an eye on when we started, and so I knew we were getting close to that half-hour mark. So
yeah,
just in an effort to throw a few more out there that we have on the list for you to
yeah.
follow up on.
I have one more also.
Oh, please go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say this is not a horror movie, but if you're looking for something that's extremely fall, it is actually a cartoon, and it is actually not a movie. It's a series. It's actually created as a not even like a series. It was a what do you call
like
it?
a miniseries or
Miniseries. It was a
event
miniseries. Yes, thank you.
with the color.
Over the Garden Wall.
Well,
So
if you've never seen that,
it's creepy. It's not horror, but it's creepy. Like the main antagonist is definitely creepy, and the music in it is great. Elijah Wood is like one of the main voice actors in it. The little boy that plays his brother is an actual kid, so it's just like really endearing to hear like an actual child's voice, play this like really adorable little chubby kind of looking kid with like a pot on his head or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
if you've never seen it, I hadn't seen it until a couple of years ago, and now it's something that we both love. And speaking of that, something else we watch every year is the David S. Pumpkins Halloween special.
Yeah.
Hard to find, but if you can get your hands on it. So just a couple other ones that we had on here.
Yep.
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch we just watched.
I used to hate that movie, and then I have a newfound appreciation for it because I know that it's its own separate thing. And yeah, Joel really loves it. So.
I love it. All Hallows Eve, Terrifier, and Terrifier 2, the trifecta of Halloween themed Art the Clown films. House of a Thousand Corpses, another Rob Zombie one that takes place on Halloween. One of my all-time favorite horror movies, period. Late Night with the Devil, which needed 10 minutes shaved off, but David Dastmalchian is fantastic, and it's feels like a Halloween 70s TV
We love
special.
him.
Sleepy Hollow, which used to be my go-to. I watched that every year until Halloween came out, and then that took over. Hack-O-Lantern, which is on the shelf. It's a weirdie. You'll have fun if you like weirdies. WNUF Halloween special, found footage.
Keeps ramping up the creepiness factor as it goes along.
Just got a sequel. And Ghost Watch, which is another kind of pseudo found footage thing. That one kind of blew up the network when it was aired on BBC. If you don't know anything about it, don't read anything, just watch it and then read about it after the fact. The thing is like the War of the Worlds of the 80s, or 90s, I think it was. Anyway, that's all I've got. So next week, just as a reminder, we are watching Covenant,
And
which
I'm gonna.
we've already read the synopsis.
You don't want me to read it again?
No,
Then?
we read it
we
last
read
week.
it already.
But
Okay.
just a reminder, we're going to get back on track. So anything else you'd like to?
Happy Halloween. Thank you very much for always joining us. We appreciate you so very much. And please, if you like us, share it. Share it with the world. Yeah. Let other people know and say, hey, we like these weirdos that we watch, the Newly Deads. They're whatever, just share it.
They've got dogs.
They've got dogs. Yeah, just tell them they've got dogs. But I guess until next week.
Keep it cheap and creepy and Halloweeny. That didn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Bye.
Go look after your mother and sister. Where are you going?
We're gonna finish this. Goodbye, Tom.
This is my buddy, Mr. Pumpkinhead. He is an incredible friend, especially this time of year. Halloween! Love you, Pumpkin.
Some wool dress. Hi. How you doing? Math class, huh? Oh, there you go. Oh, your coat's terrific. The whole thing's terrific.
God, have you ever seen so many dogs in one place?
Trouble with you, Chad, is you're just spoiled.
Yeah, I know.
Morning.
Now, that's ugly.
I just got the weirdest idea.
Yeah, what?
I wonder what she looks like under all those clothes.
Who? Eldridge? Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. It's kind of like the idea just jumped into my head.
Basic literary triangle. Can anyone tell me why Fitzgerald's name is on the bottom? Mr. Foster.
Because Fitzgerald's liberated work of the 20s, beginning with This Side of Paradise, formed the base for the extended realism of both Hemingway and Faulkner.
Quite correct. I would like to amplify this aspect of the discussion, but I see by the clock that our time is up. Your assignment due for tomorrow's class will be the final chapter of For Whom the Bell Tolls. You are to summarize this chapter with special emphasis on the protagonist's time continuum thought processes relating to his father's death and his own impending death in Spain. Class is dismissed. Chad.
You're welcome. You sure carry a lot of books.
Yes.
Miss Eldridge, you go to the movies much?
Sometimes, not often.
No? I do. A lot. But then I tend to think in pictures.
Oh,
Yeah, you see, my hobby is photography.
well, that's very interesting.
I thought that maybe we
It's
could...
very nice talking with you, Chad, but I do have another class.
Yeah. See you.
You're really serious about that, aren't you? Well, you got any funny ideas, you better forget it. Don't go messing around with teachers.
Oh, really? Gee, I didn't know that.
Going out tonight?
No, I have too much to do.
You know, for the kind of money they pay, you put in an awful lot of hours.
That's true. Julie, Steve has a friend. He's a very nice guy. Well, you can't just stay home all the time. You gotta go out sometimes. I'm all right, Anne. Don't worry about me. The problem with you is you don't give yourself half a chance. If you'd work at it just a little, you'd really be attractive. Anne, have a nice time tonight. Okay. Good night.
Night. That scene in Sanctuary where Faulkner has his character Popeye rape the girl. I prefer Fitzgerald. He only suggests violence.
Well, Faulkner was just telling it like it is. I guess some people enjoy violence, lead perverted lives. And speaking of perversion, there's a wonderful old vampire pic playing down at the Village Drive-In this Friday. It's all in French with English subtitles. It's a real classic. How about going to see it with me? For reasons of cultural expansion.
Well, I thank you, Chad, but you know, teachers aren't allowed to date students. Or didn't you know that?
So who will find out? My lips are sealed. I won't tell.
You have your pick of all these lovely co-eds, Chad. Why would you want to date me?
Because I prefer maturity in a woman. All those others, they're just a bunch of kids. You look like you could use a drink.
Yes, I guess I could. It's ridiculous, but these kind of things always upset me.
Do you want popcorn, too?
Oh, no, I couldn't eat anything, but a drink would be fine, Chad. Thank you.
All right.
What'll it be? 2 large root beers.
Easy on the eyes.
2 large root beers, easy on the eyes.
How much is it?
$1. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's your drink.
Thank you. Tastes bitter.
Yeah, mine too. I guess they're not putting enough syrup in them.
What's the matter? Don't you like the movie, Chad?
I like the movie. It's just that I like you better. What's wrong?
I don't know.
Do you want to get out and get some air?
Can I do something for you?
Yeah, I need a room for the night, me and my wife. The name's Harker, Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Harker.
You got any baggage?
Yeah, I got baggage.
Need $15 in advance.
All right.
Okay, fill out the card.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's late. We're home. Boy, you must have really been tired.
Could I? Did I really fall asleep?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, this has never happened to me before.
I'm just sorry that I took you to such a boring picture.
Well, I warned you, at least. I told you I wouldn't be a very exciting date.
Forget it. I decided to let you sleep. I figured with all the work you do, you needed the rest.
Still, I'm afraid I've spoiled your evening.
No. I had a fine time.
really sorry.
Hey, I thought we agreed to forget about that.
Yes, we did. I had a very good time. Thank you.
Can I call you tomorrow?
I don't think so, Chad.
Why not?
Because it was foolish of us to go out tonight. I could lose my job and you could be expelled.
No board of trustees tells me who to see or who not to see. I do what I want.
Now, Chad. No, I really must be firm about this. We can't go out again.
We'll see. Good night, Julie.
Hello?
It's me, Chad.
Chad, it's not even 8 o'clock.
I want to see you.
I told you last night that I don't think we should.
Listen, you get dressed, because I'm coming over there right now. You and I are taking a little drive together.
Absolutely not. Now, what's the matter with you? I don't find this at all amusing.
It's not meant to be.
Are you ready to tell me why you're behaving this way?
Oh, didn't I tell you? My hobby's photography.
You drugged me last night, didn't you? How could you do something this sick?
Well, I think they came out rather well, don't you? Oh, and you can keep these. Because you see, I have the negatives.
I'll call the police, Chad.
No, you won't. First of all, you have no proof that I drugged you. I'll deny it and offer these photos as proof. Tell them you seduced me, that you've got a thing for students. No. I'm sure you don't want the police or anyone else to see these.
What do you want from me?
The realism of Faulkner, Steinbeck, Hemingway, and even Hammett opened the doors to a new kind of literary expression, indigenous to the new American frontier experience. Here was a raw, muscled prose, which completely transformed the period and formed a direct bridge, linking us all the way from the aesthetic realism of a Dreiser to the rather disheveled class is dismissed
Class is dismissed.
What are you doing up? Do you know what time it is? Julie. Will you please tell me what's going on?
Nothing.
I didn't stay up all night to get that kind of an answer. I'm worried about you. It's been like this for a month now.
I know, but...
Julie, this isn't like you. Please tell me what's happening.
I really can't talk about it, Anne. Go to bed.
Hey, I want that on.
I want it off.
Since when does what you want count?
Since now. Tonight. This second. It's all over, Chad. It's over.
Nothing is over until I say it is.
I don't think so. You see, I'm bored. And when I'm bored, the game is over.
Bored?
Mm-hmm. Not terrified, not shocked. Just plain bored. Whose idea did you think this whole thing was?
What are you talking about?
What I am talking about, Chad, is that you are a singularly unimaginative young man. Did you really think that that dull little mind of yours could possibly have conceived any of the rather dramatic experiences we've shared? Do you remember the day you watched me walk up the steps? Since that moment, your mind has not been your own. Why do you think you suddenly had the overwhelming desire to see what I looked like under all those clothes? Don't feel bad. I always get bored after a while. Although, there was one boy in Denver who did keep me amused for almost 9 weeks. But then he was wonderfully creative. First you'll experience dizziness, then mild paralysis, and then total cardiac arrest.
You've drugged me.
No, dear, I've killed you. I told you about those chemicals, Chad. How dangerous they could be.
He was one of your best students, wasn't he?
Yes, he was wonderfully bright and spirited boy. You know, I warned him about those chemicals, how dangerous they could be.
Are you sure you're okay? Julie, I can skip work and stay here with you.
No, you go on. I'll be fine.
Are you sure?
Yes, Anne.
Miss Eldridge?
Yes.
I'm Arthur Moore. I saw your notice on the board.
And you need help.
Yeah, my lit grades are lousy. Do you have time for me, Miss Eldridge?
Of course I do, Arthur. In fact, if you like, we can start right now.
Oh, that'd be great. I like that a lot.
Good. I think we're going to be friends, Arthur. Very good friends.
The funeral is over, and I am alone in the house. Therese is out cavorting with one of her men on this night when Father is barely cold in his casket. I ran some old family films to remind myself of when it began. Even then, at 12, she was already using her wiles on him. Poor Mother, so weak, so innocent, never suspecting the depth of evil in Therese. My spoiled sister, her sweet little face never fooled me for an instant. I knew the darkness behind it. I knew the fermenting ugliness in her soul.
Mr. Anmar?
Yes?
Please come in. I know what you're thinking. You're wondering how sisters can look so unalike. I have never found it necessary to affect the ways of Therese. Please sit down.
Is she here?
Oh, no. She's gone to a party.
A party? This afternoon at the funeral, she seemed so distraught.
My sister is an unusual girl, Mr. Anmar. I doubt that you truly understand her, which is why I've called you here.
What do you mean?
I want you to look at something. Here's Therese and Father. She was 15 then. I want you to notice the way she's pressing herself against him.
I don't understand. Why are you telling me this?
My sister is evil, Mr. Anmar. I think you should know that. Even as a child, she was vicious and cunning. But Father worshipped her, and she him. When she was 16, she seduced him.
Now look, I don't know what you're trying to do, but I don't want to hear any more of this.
It was not long after that Mother died. The doctor said it was an accident. That she had taken an overdose of sleeping pills. But it was no accident, Mr. Anmar. It was Therese. She had put those extra pills in her milk.
If this is true, how could you live in the same house while they...
Well, you see, I had no place else to go. I had no money and no way to earn any. No escape. So I kept to myself as much as possible. Tried to avoid Therese. To ignore what was happening in this house. You don't believe me, do you?
Miss Lorimer, I don't know what to say.
These books show what she is. Demonology, pornography, Satanism, voodoo, witchcraft. These books aren't just relics, Mr. Anmar. She uses them to capture the souls of others. By her own admission, Satan guides her.
You don't really expect me to believe this, do you?
But you must believe me, Mr. Anmar. You see, Therese's soul is damned. And I cannot help her. But I can help you.
Miss Lorimer, I'm afraid you're the one that really needs help.
How naive you are! Do you really think she cares for you? She lies to you. She laughs at you.
Sorry, but I really must be going now.
I know all about that night at Morley and what happened there.
She told you about that?
Yes. She told me everything. Gloated. Bragged about how she was able to corrupt you. My sister enjoys inflicting pain, Mr. Anmar. And apparently she somehow persuaded you to share that perversion. Now do you believe me? You are saved, Mr. Anmar. I have freed you from evil.
This afternoon, while I was out shopping, Therese violated my room in an insane act of revenge. And upon my return, raged at me, using foul and obscene language, cursing me for having dared to reveal the truth to Mr. Anmar. Her behavior was truly bestial. She's becoming more violent by the day. It's as if Father's death has released the demons within her, and I actually fear for my life.
Hello?
Dr. Ramsey, it's Millie. It's about Therese. She's much worse.
Now, I thought we'd settled that matter. You were going to see about Therese.
But you can't imagine the things she's been saying about me. About us.
Us?
She's jealous of our relationship. She twists it into something lewd and something sordid.
Look, Millie, I have a hospital call to make in your area tomorrow. I'll drop by and we'll talk about this.
Thank you, Doctor. Hi, Doc. Come on in. I've been expecting you. You want a drink?
No, thanks.
Of course not. I suppose you're here on your usual mission. I know all about what dear little Millicent told you on the phone. I was listening on the extension in my room, you see.
I see.
So, I guess it's just a wasted visit, Doctor. Because I know Millicent won't talk about me when I'm in the house. And here I am.
Did you destroy her room?
Yes, I destroyed her room. Why shouldn't I? She deserved it. I mean, where does that little twit get off thinking she's got the right to stick her nose into my affairs? Don't worry, Doc. I'm sure she's got it all straightened up by now, in her proper little housekeeper's manner.
Therese, this hatred has got to stop. You'll destroy yourself.
Oh, I don't think so, Doc. Besides, it's really all Millicent has. Her hatred of me is the only passion in her lonely, pathetic little existence. You know, you're really a very handsome man, Doctor. If you just loosen up a little. Oh, did that bother you? Do I make you nervous, Doctor?
I don't think we need to carry this any further.
What's the matter, Doc? You still a virgin? Or, is it that you just don't like girls?
I'll call again soon.
We don't need you anymore, Ramsey.
Why don't you just get the hell out of our lives? Don't phone us and don't call on us. Well, leave! And don't ever come back here! Gone! Dr. Ramsey's gone, Millicent. He won't be back. What do you think of that, dear little sister? Answer me, you creep!
But I wouldn't answer her, nor would I allow her to enter. I remained locked in my room, silent, while she raged and swore at me. Finally, she staggered back into her own room and fell into a drunken sleep. How I loathe her. I can no longer bear to live in this house and watch evil prevail. Something must be done. Yes. Therese must die.
Tracy, what's wrong? What's the matter?
My doll is broken.
Oh, let me look at it. Oh, my. How did this happen, dear?
Your sister broke it.
Therese? Therese did this? But why? Why did she do it?
I was just playing with my dolly when all of a sudden your sister came running out of the house and yelled at me. She said I was making too much noise. Then she grabbed my dolly and threw it on the ground and broke its head. I hate her, Miss Milton. I hate her.
You poor thing. Next time I'm in town, I'm going to buy you a brand new dolly.
You will?
Will that make you feel better?
Thank you, Miss Millicent.
When I returned to the house, I was still thinking of Tracy's broken doll. And it was then that the solution suddenly became quite clear. At last I had found the ideal way. How ironic, I would use Therese's own books to destroy her. I began to collect the necessary items. Parings from Therese's long painted nails. Strands from her lovely blonde hair. The rhinestone buttons from her most lewdly seductive dress. And then, at last, I had all that was required. Therese's life held literally within my hands.
Hello?
Hello, Dr. Ramsey. It's Millie.
I've been trying to reach you since yesterday. Millie, I'm terribly worried. We must talk.
I appreciate your concern, Doctor, but I no longer feel there is any need to talk. You see, things are different now. I found a way to deal with Therese.
I insist that we talk.
That is all I have to say to you, Dr. Ramsey.
Your advice is no longer required. Goodbye.
Millicent? Millie? Millie, you in here? Millicent? This is Dr. Chester Ramsey. 470 Staten Place. I want to report a death. Female, age 26. Cause of death, cause of death unknown. Just a moment. Before you take her away. I was the family physician. I knew her quite well. Her name was Therese Millicent Larimore. The most advanced case of dual personality I have ever seen.
He who kills. Boy, are you ugly. That face. Even your mother wouldn't love you. It's very sharp. Arthur's gonna love it. Well, better get it over with. Hi, Mom. I couldn't call earlier. I just got home. Mother. Mother, it's about tonight. I know we always spend Friday night together, but I thought... No, I feel all right. It's not that. Mother, I'm not sick. Mother, there's a man. His name is Arthur Breslow. He's a teacher at City College. It's his birthday. And, well, I sort of promised him that we'd spend the night, the evening together. Mother, it has nothing to do with preferring. When do I break my word to you? What do you mean, when? You give me a when. When do I break my promises? Well, of course I love you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do, dear.
Mother, I'm not being cruel. It's his birthday, that's all. I see you 2 or 3 nights a week. Mother, please stop treating me like a child. I'm grown up. I'm not yelling. Because I like it here. It's only a sublease. They'll be back in 6 months. I like having it for my own. I like being alone. I didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry. About a month. I meant to tell you before. He's a very nice man. He's kind and gentle. You'd like him. It didn't happen that way. I met him after I rented the apartment. Mother, you should see what I'm getting him for his birthday. It's a genuine Zuni fetish doll. I found it in a curio shop on 3rd Avenue. Arthur teaches anthropology, that's why I got it for him. It's a Zuni hunting fetish. It's really interesting. There's supposed to be some Zuni hunter's spirit inside of it. And there's a golden chain wrapped around it to keep the spirit from making the doll come to life. Come to life. It says, should the chain be removed, spirit and doll will become one living. Well, that's what it says on the scroll. The scroll. It comes with a doll inside the box. You should see his face, Mom. Mom? Why is it always like this? I will not get a headache. I will not get a headache. I am going to take a bath. And then I'm going to meet my fella. And we're going to have a lovely time. Lovely time. Mom? Hello, Arthur. Hi. Well, you know me too well, don't you? It is our one night on the town. You know, every Friday night. Well, you know, I've told you before. I just don't want to hurt her feelings. My moving out was hard enough on her. Well, I know I had every right to move out. That's not the point. Yeah, I realized we'd planned to spend the evening together, but Arthur, it's only one day. Couldn't we celebrate your birthday tomorrow night? I just don't want to hurt her feelings. She is my mother, after all. All right. Bye. Hooray for Friday night. What'd you do? Fall off the table? Where'd you go? Lord, where are you? I guess I found you. At least the tip of your spear. How you got that far back? We're getting warm. Come out, wherever you are. Is that you, little man? He's gotta be there. What's going on? Come on, Amelia. Don't get spooky on me, Amelia. wooden dolls do not move about.
Their blow probably just burnt out, that's all.
This is Amelia, Mom. I'm sorry I acted the way I did. I think we should spend the evening together just the way we planned. It's kind of late, though. Why don't you come by my place, and we'll go from here? No, I'm all right. Good. I'll be waiting for you.